Yo, what is up guys? Draco Sean here, back with another video. I'll make it quick. I was away on holiday for 2 weeks. I probably should have left a note, so my fault. I am trying to get this channel higher and higher, obviously. So obviously I need to keep posting content. I need to be doing that, so I will try and improve on that as much as I can. Now I do want to jump straight into this chapter. There's a lot to talk about, especially the ending. I know everyone wants to talk about that, but I will start with my thoughts and opinions on this flashback. I do like this flashback. I think this flashback is it's one of the best flashbacks. I think that it could be one of the best flashbacks, depending on how it ends. But right now, obviously it's not going to be better than the Elbaf flashback, the Rocks Pirate flashback, but it's a Brook flashback. I'm interested to see how it goes. I will say the last couple chapters, I wasn't really, not that they were bad, they weren't bad chapters, but I wasn't taken off, I wasn't blown away by them. I think that's the word. But again, I do understand, because those chapters were setup chapters, like giving us the origin around Brook and how he became friends with the king, the queen, and obviously Shuri, Shuri, the princess, or Gunko as we call her now. So we do know now why Brook shows a lot of loyalty to the royal family, which I think is really, really cool, I guess, in that sense. But again, those chapters I wasn't really that excited about. But there are some talking points in this chapter. I think the biggest talking point for me, I think, outside of the ending, obviously, is the stuff of Queen Candell. Now, obviously, Queen Candell is a character that was just introduced in the last couple chapters. There's been a lot of theories around her. Now, obviously, the biggest theory is that she is a god knight. Now, obviously, we know the god knights are celestial dragons, and we know they work for Emu directly. And people are saying because the way she appears, the way we know that Gonko becomes a holy knight, there's a chance that she could be a holy knight as well, or a god knight. So there is that possibility. Now, in this chapter, she is supposedly killed. Now, knowing this is Oda, we know his track record. There's a chance that she's still alive. But we have to also remember with Oda, one thing Oda does is in flashbacks, he is very ruthless with characters. He will kill off characters without hesitation. But there's just so many hints around Queen Candell being, there's just like, I feel like this is such a big character we're getting, a very important character, and I feel like we're not really going anywhere with it. And to find out that she just gets killed, it just feels a bit sudden. So I think there is going to be more to this. Again, we do learn a little things. There's a couple hints in this chapter also that she's not, there's some double meaning behind her. So one of the first hints in this chapter was that Brook mentioned to the princess, or Gonko, that a world government ship washed up on shore. But they didn't give us too much info into that incident. They just said a world government ship washed up on shore. It was something to do with the celestial dragons, and obviously that makes everyone nervous because we know what the celestial dragons are like. And then Queen Candell was bedridden. Again, very, very fishy. I'm not gonna lie. There's so much more going on with that, and there wasn't much info given into that incident. And then also there was something else mentioned in this chapter when Brook was asking Queen Candell as like a joke, what is your type of, like, what's your preference in a guy? And Queen Candell mentions there is someone that she loves, and she wants to get stronger to please that person. Now, we could just be thinking the person she's talking about is the current king, the one she married and had Gonko, obviously, because Gonko is her daughter, obviously. So the obvious person she could be talking about is the king, but it's weird that she doesn't mention him. And it's kind of implied that she's trying to build her strength to the point where she can be on this guy's level, whoever this mysterious lover she's talking about. But from what we know, she's probably more powerful. Queen Candell is, I think, confirmed to be more powerful than the king, I think. And I'm just starting to think it could be potentially a god knight. So again, there's a lot going on, and it's such a really vague sentence that she's mentioning. Again, there's so much mystery around Queen Candell, even after she's supposedly killed in this chapter, and that's the thing, even her death as well. We don't see her body, we don't see her last words. She's we cut from one page to the next page, and we just see everyone holding a funeral for her, and we're like, okay, what the hell? So I do think there is more going on with Queen Candell, and my theory is that she's either gonna be alive, or she's been plotting this entire time, or maybe she's genuinely dead. So there's a lot of options. I think next chapter is going to confirm a lot of things for us on this character. But again, I'm still holding out the hope that she's a god knight. Now, is she evil? I don't know. Even if she is a god knight, even if she is a celestial dragon, is she evil? We know that not all celestial dragons can be evil. So there is a chance she could be a good celestial dragon. So we'll find out. But the next thing to talk about is the ending. Now, obviously, we know the world government invades the kingdom, and we know why, because the world government obviously have the heavenly tribute, the tax that you have to pay to the world government, obviously. But obviously, the kingdom hasn't got enough funds to pay them. So, they're now saying, okay, if you can't pay it, then you have to give us 1,000 slaves. So, and obviously we know the world government love their slaves, but obviously we know, after watching One Piece for how many years, we know what the slavery is like in the world government. It's corrupt as hell. And the king is like, absolutely not, I'm not doing that. If you don't like that, we are going to war with you, which obviously, in the grand scheme of things, is a bad idea, because it's a noble thing to say, obviously, but obviously he's going to get his people killed because it's the world government. And if you refuse the world government, you're going to get killed. So now obviously we know the world government are attacking, and we're seeing Brook rallying the soldiers together, which is, it's good to see Brook doing things, obviously, but then the ending, obviously. So we see Brook, he rushes into the throne room, and we just see Gunko, the king, this random guy in the back, and another potential guy. Now, there's a lot to break down in this scene. First of all, Gunko. So Gunko and the king are both domi reverse. Now, Gunko, we know, now if you remember, obviously a couple chapters ago, Brook states that Gunko killed her father, the king. We don't have anything else other than that. Now, we see in this chapter that Gunko is in domi reverse state, where she's got the wings, she's got the horns. She's also killed the king, and the king, again, also has horns and wings. So this makes me think that both the king and Gunko were domi reversed. Now, we see in this chapter, we see a guy, we don't know who, I'm going to talk about him because he's a big talking point of this chapter. We see him, he's wearing this admiral-like coat, he's smoking a cigar, and he's just chilling. And the theory is that he's a god knight. That's the obvious theory. Now, we do know with domi reverse that Imu's not the only one who can domi reverse, because we know for a fact that Garland could do it as well, because we saw that Garland was able to turn some of the members of the Davy clan into those demons that Imu can do. So we know it's not just a power exclusive to Imu. So someone else having that power is not surprising. Now, why they're domi reversing these two is interesting. And again, one thing that's been mentioned about domi reverse is that domi reverse only works if that person is born in that homeland. And that's why I think it works on rocks, why it works on the Elbaf giants, why it works on these guys as well. So again, domi reverse's power is a power that still is yet to be explained still fully, I would say. But we are getting more context around it now. Now, we also see in this chapter a silhouette of a bird. Now, people are theorizing it's maybe this guy's power, maybe the guy who's sitting down smoking a cigar. But no, it's kind of implied that that person is Mars. Now, if you don't remember Mars is one of the 5 elders, the Gorosei, and he has the power to transform into the Itsumade, which is that big demented bird. Now, again, we don't know why he's there, and I don't even know why he would be there, because again, the world government are already invading the kingdom. Why would he need to be there? What is so important about this kingdom? And I think, again, this goes back to Queen Candell. I think, again, I truly believe that this all ties to Queen Candell, all this world government stuff. And I think the world government normally wouldn't pay interest in this, but I think the reason why they're so invested in this kingdom is because of Queen Candell. That's my theory. Again, why will they need to domi reverse the king and the daughter? Why would they need to do that? So there's so much more going on here. Now, obviously, the biggest talking point is this guy sitting down smoking a cigar. Who is he? Now, there's a couple options here. One of the options I heard was mentioned is that he could be one of the 5 dons of the West Blue. Now, if you don't know who they are, obviously, we all know who Capone is. Capone Bedge. He's one of the 5 dons, and we know this guy. We know in this flashback it was stated that one of the 5 dons, wanted to marry Queen Candell, and he sent out his men after her. Obviously, they were weak as hell, and she beat them. Well, technically, Brook beat them up. But this goes back now. Is this guy him? Because he looks like he could be a mafia boss, but I don't think it's him because, again, we're seeing domi reverse right in front of us, and I don't know why this random don from the West Blue would be having anything to do with Emu. So I don't think it's him. Obviously, the second option is that he's a god knight, a holy knight, which I think is probably the safest option. I've seen people say he could be the admiral, potentially as well. Yeah, could be an admiral, but I don't think it is because we know the admirals I don't think the admirals even know about domi reversi. I mean, domi reversi we know is a power that potentially only the world government know. I don't think the admirals and the fleet admiral know about this power because remember, this power is only exclusive to Emu, and remember, no one in the world knows about Emu. Only a few people know about Emu, and those are the higher end celestial dragons. So I don't think it's an admiral. I think this person is a god knight. Now people are going one step further. People are saying this is the man marked by flames. It's so hard to say that because we don't have any context around this guy, but look, he could be the man marked by flames. It's really hard to make out what he could be. He looks a bit like Shiryu, I'm not gonna lie. So and a mixture of him and Summers, obviously, because he had the way his coat is dressed up as well. So again, who he could be, I don't know, but he looks pretty dope. He's aura farming as hell. I'm interested to see what he's gonna be. Is he alive to this day? We don't know. I guess we're gonna find out. So yeah, not much to make out from that. I don't know if it's a bit early to say if he's the man marked by flames. I mean, there's been theories that the man marked by flames is a god knight, so if it's him, it would be pretty interesting. So we'll find out. But yeah, I think in terms of the chapter, those are the main points. Obviously, we know about the Queen Candell stuff. Obviously, we're still in the Brook flashback. It is annoying there's a break next week, so we're gonna have to wait another week. I'm gonna try and upload something in the meantime. But yeah, no, I think this has been, I would say this chapter is about a 7.5 out of 10. There was still some stuff at the start of the chapter that it was more a lot of gag scenes and music. And music is obviously a big part of this because it's the Brook flashback. But anyway, yeah, I think it was a good chapter. I'm excited to see what Oda does with this new character that he just introduced at the end. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, this is your boy Draco Sean. Peace out. Have a good day. Like, comment, and subscribe.